Hey everyone, I just wanted to let you know about my new album, Dreamers. This album was originally going to be a 3-track EP, to be released in the summer of 2017. But after putting out a preview, I realised I was onto something with a new sound and should explore it further to see if I could get a full album out of it. And so that's what I did. So after 2 years of hard work and dedication, I finally finished the album. This album was all my life has been about during that time, and I think I must have put about 2,000 hours of work into it. There's been a lot of trial and error along the way. Some of the songs that didn't fit the album have already been released as singles, and some of the others are in a good enough state to show as demos, which I might do at a later date. I really pushed myself to make the best album I could, even trying to sing when it's not really something I've done before and I'm not very good at, which ended up taking a lot of attempts to get right. It started with a title track back in the spring of 2016, and after listening to the demo, I realised the song needed vocals, and I knew I had to do them. Making the album was a very difficult process, but I managed to see it through because I wanted to be able to look back on this one and truly say, I gave it everything I had. I know I can say that now. The album will sound new to some people, and in ways it is, but it's also a return to my older sound. So I started out as a guitarist back in the 90s, and all I wanted to do was play in a band. And I did play in a few bands, but none of them really went anywhere. After leaving one of the last bands I was in 2009, I ended up trying out some music software to see if I could emulate the rest of a band while I played the guitar parts. Those experiments went wrong, and ended up with some weird electronic, progressive rock music and some other stuff. But in 2011, I ended up releasing my first EP under the name Zeros and Ones. The experience of making the EP really opened me up more to electronic music, so I started listening to things I would find on SoundCloud, and I watched the music scene grow from its early days, a music scene that became known as Witch House. I always loved this style, and I had experimented with it for years, but I never really found my own sound with it until I started work on the new album. Sometime around 2012 to 2013, I discovered another music scene, which became known as Synthwave. A friend of mine showed me a song by Collins, and the song was called Secret Admirer. I never really liked much 80s music growing up, but I couldn't help but like this song, so I went looking for more stuff like this. The first things I found were a couple of songs by Noir Deco, and one of the songs was a collab with NPM Soundtracks, also known as Multipack or just NPM, and the song was called Journeys. The other song was called Sentient Love. At the time, I couldn't tell if these were actual 80s songs or something new, but I loved them either way. I ended up finding a lot more music by these two, and to this day, they remain my favourites from the scene. I'd not been doing much of music for years, and had all but given up, but this music scene gave me a lot of inspiration. So in 2013 I got back to it and started working hard at my music than ever before, and began releasing things again. I really miss playing guitar after a while though, because keys are just so lacking in expression and don't really do it for me, so I wanted to bring back my guitar on this album. It's a bit of a journey through some of my life's main styles and influences. There's some rock, metal, Witch House, Dreamwave, and post-rock. The album changes in its energy and feeling along the way, but it's actually quite positive sounding compared to what I've previously done, which is weird because it's not how I imagined this album would be when I first started out. It's a bit of a detour from the path I was on, making music with more of a cyberpunk and sci-fi feel to it, but this is something I've been needing to do for a long time now. I'd always been trying to make this album where I mix together all of the different styles I like, but I've always failed to put it all together, and I wasn't even trying to do that with this album, but I think that's kind of what it became now that I look at it. It's not quite how I imagined it would be, but I'm really proud of what I've created, and for managing to see it through until the end, because this album really pushed me to my limits. I hope you'll enjoy it and choose to support my work so I can keep the dream alive. The album is now available on Bandcamp, where you can buy tapes, t-shirts, and get a digital download. There's a bunch of other ways you can support me too. You can support me on Patreon, or listen to my music on your favourite streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever one you use. And you can also add it to playlists there so that more people discover it. Maybe even put it right at the start of a playlist. You can even just post links to my work on my official channels from whatever social media sites you like using. All of these things will help me out, and I'd really appreciate you doing that if you want to see me succeed. Thanks for listening.